So you've got a class, you got all your students in there, but you need to start creating assignments for it. So I'm going to run through creating an assignment. And you guys will see this on your assignments in a moment. Let's just go back and show this again. So from the assignments view, you have the big green button for add assignment. They're pretty good about making everything pretty obvious where it is, or at least the important stuff, like adding a class or adding an assignment. When you're in here, you need to put in your settings. Let's just see here. All right, you got your assignment title. Let's call this PD assignment. Don't cheat. Give it a point value. Let's say 20 points. The point value is what you'll use to determine what your grade is out of. You have to put this in, otherwise it says, it has all its marks as out of 0 points. And you won't really be able to have the marks show up next to the student's submissions. It's best if you put in how many points you're going to mark this out of. Once you've set up your rubrics, this should be fairly obvious to you, depending on what your rubric you're choosing. So we've got a start date, we have a due date, and a post date. The post date is what Turnitin uses for when it lets the students see their assignment marks. The due date is basically when submissions are sort of closed. Although you can set that, whether you want it to be after the due date, no submissions at all, forget it, or whether you want it to be, or whether you want to allow submissions after the due date. I'll go into that in a second. What we've got is some extra optional settings, which you might want to look through. Special instructions. If we're doing it through Moodle, that'll probably just be on Moodle, so may not matter to you, but you might want to add extra special instructions to the Turnitin assignment. Allow submissions after the due date. This one's kind of important in how it works. If you allow submissions after the due date, students can submit their work at any time. However, before the due date, they can make a submission and then overwrite it. After the due date, that's it. They can make one submission. They can upload one file, and then they can't upload anything after that. So if they upload the wrong file after the due date, tough. There are very few ways around that. There's some options for originality support, originality report. The first one is whether you're going to make an originality report or not. This is whether you're going to check it for plagiarism or not. You probably want this to be yes. You may, I can't think of when you wouldn't. There's settings for when you want the originality reports to show up. I usually find immediately, and they can overwrite reports until due date is a good one. That means right away there's an originality report made rather than at the due date. The reason why this is useful is another setting lets students see their originality reports. So they can look at it ahead of time, see if they're accidentally plagiarizing, and fix that. This is one of the things Turnitin is really useful for, preventing rather than catching plagiarism. And so we got, there's some other things of what it can exclude. If there's anything in the bibliography, you probably want to exclude that. Although you may not want to if students aren't quoting it properly. Excluding quoted materials, again, you'd probably want to exclude that as well. Excluding small matches, this is a useful one to set on all the time. If there's like maybe a few words that match, you don't want to see that every single time that maybe like 5 or 10 words match something else. Really small matches. Or things that don't match very much. There's some options for how much it needs to match before you show it. This one is allow students to see originality reports. I would turn that on. They should see it. It gives them some feedback on academic honesty. Very valuable. Where you submit the papers to. Most of this can just be kept in the usual default. And you can attach a rubric ahead of time if you've already got one made. I do that sometimes, not always. One useful thing is to save your options as defaults right at the very bottom. That can be useful to make things a little quicker. You just set up an assignment and you know that it's got the options the way you want it. So I'll just submit that. and this will make an assignment. All right. And what happens now is that students will all see that they have assignment. Can you guys all refresh your views? And you'll see that you have an assignment now. Add myself. I'm just going to go back and I'm going to show how this one works. I'm going to roll as well. Okay. I've just enrolled in the class as well because I'm going to show you guys how to submit an assignment. All right. First thing, I'm going to click on the class here, and you can see the this is what the students will see. So you have all their assignments. Next to each assignment, if it's not already submitted and marked, you see a submit button. There will be a view button here and a download button once they've actually made their submission. So I'm going to submit something. Right now, all I want people to do is just make a little text document. Students can submit most text-based types of documents. Word docs are okay. Let's see what else is okay. PDF is great. Word doc is great. Plain text, text files is great as well. What doesn't work are some things like pages. You can't submit a raw pages file. What you can do with pages is you can have the students turn it into a PDF and then send it up. But really it's just a PDF, Word doc, and plain text. So I'm just going to write something like, this is my assignment file. And I'm going to copy that a bunch of times. It needs to have at least 20 words, so I'm going to copy that. There we go. And I save that. So I'm being the student here. I've just done my work. Okay. Save that. All right, get rid of that. And I'm going to submit the work. So I'd go over here, and I would click on Submit. I want everyone here as well. Start just writing some gibberish. Write something in there. Just. It isn't coming up on yours? You're in the class? All right, let me check that out. You can see it as well. Is there anyone else who can't see it? How many people are seeing the assignment? How many people are not seeing the assignment? Honestly, I'm really not sure why this is happening. It should show up in everybody's assignment. If everyone's enrolled, then you should see it. What do you do to see once you see it? You would click on the assignment. You click on class portfolio. Actually, you should all be in class portfolio right now, and it should just show up. Once you're in there, once you can see it, just open up a text edit or Word or something like that, and just type in something. And actually, I'd like some of you to type in some work and then copy something online. Just find some web page, find Wikipedia, copy a bunch of stuff from Wikipedia. Try doing that. If you wanted to know a description of the assignment, you know what? Let me go back and I'll try changing some of the details. Oh, there's an info button. Yeah. If you hover over, let me show you here. if the students hover over the info button, they can see information about the assignment, and they can also see the rubric if you've set that up ahead of time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, you need to go to student mode. So where it says instructor, you change to student mode. Enroll in a class. Well, you enroll in the class. That's what it's doing. It was 717-5631. Okay. And the enrollment password was PD class. All right. So let's say I'm the student. I've just seen my assignment. All right, assignment instructions. I just put my mouse over the eye icon right here. Let me zoom in a bit. This thing here, and I can see, oh, there's no other instructions. And then I hover over here. Well, no rubric right now. So I'd suggest maybe setting up your rubric. If you can set up your rubrics ahead of time, that's great. If you can just show them to your students in class. But once you've got everything set up properly when it comes to rubrics, this part will be a lot easier. So I've got my work done. I'm going to click on, I'm acting as a student here. I click on Submit, and now I can upload my files. So there's a couple of methods you can do. Uploading a single file, cutting and pasting. There are some other ones where you can allow students to submit more than one file if that's required. So, single file upload. And I'm going to upload from the computer. I've just noticed this. This is new. They have options for students to connect their work to their Dropbox or Google Drive account, which is pretty useful. But I'm just going to choose it from the computer. For most students, that's what they're going to be using. Now let's see. Yes, my awesome work, which is awesome. Okay, and I need to give this a title. My suggestion is you set up a way that students submit their work, because whatever title they write in is what you're going to see. And I've seen students submit things like Bob's work, or just Bob, or this is my work, or hello, Mr. Oldford. You need to have some sort of title that's descriptive. So I'd suggest maybe the name of the assignment and then their name. But it's up to you how you want to do that. But again, something consistent. Okay, so I'm just going to put in my awesome work. And upload. All right, so that's step one. So just click upload. It's going to upload the file. And then it redirects you to the next step. What this does is it just shows what you've submitted, just the text of what you submitted. This is a part where I've noticed the students get a little confused because they think they should just go submit and it's all done. But Turnitin makes them actually look and say, is this what you actually meant to submit? Did you submit the right file? They just check it over. If it's a longer file, they should be able to see most, if not all of it. If they don't see all of it, that's usually not a big issue. They should see pretty much all of it. What they won't see is any pictures. So they might also ask you, what happened to my pictures? My pictures are all gone. They're not gone. They're just not being shown to you. Then you click Submit again. It takes a moment, and this is where Turnitin starts looking at the text, and it does something to it. I think this is where originality report, it starts sending away for originality reports, things like that. And then this is where the students are actually done. They see the check mark in green, and your submission was successful. What they see here is a digital receipt. It basically says, yep, we got your file. Here's what your first page looks like. Every student misses that this is just their first page. There are so many times using this where they come back and they say, but I can't see all of my paper. It didn't get all of my paper. No, it's just showing you your first page. So it's a good idea to warn them ahead of time that they're going to see something that's just their first page. They're going to see things that don't quite look like what they've done. It's not a problem. It's just showing you, we did it. Here's your first page.